Yes. Are we all on? Right.
No, only 22 are on so far. We had about 43 or 44. So just give it about another few seconds. Half a minute or so should be okay. We're up to 29. I'll be muting everybody. So Priyaji, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, okay.
We're on 33 people, 34. I think we're good to go.
Okay, great. Okay. There is this couplet by Ghalib, which is my personal favorite, which I would like to share with all of you, and I'm sure you will also really like it. It says, Umr bhar yahi galti karte rahe. Umr bhar yahi galti karte rahe. धूल थी चेहरे पर आईना साफ करते रहे. I hope everybody understood and everybody knows Hindi here. Otherwise, I can later explain it on WhatsApp. So before we end this session, I would like to just do a 2 to 3 minute guided visualization with all of us together. I would like you to get seated in a comfortable position, everybody in a totally comfortable position. I want you to close your eyes, square your shoulders, sit with ease, and steady your breath. Let all other thoughts wander away as you bring your attention to the following intention. That I will cooperate and empower anyone who comes in my orbit and help them to move ahead in life. By default, I will be pushed ahead in my life. I am like an ocean. Whoever comes and sits near me feels the cool breeze. I'm like the sun that radiates its warmth to whoever comes to stand before it. Everyone who comes in my life is touched by my kindness. You are a part of a much larger cosmic force of the sun, the moon, and the stars that follow a steady and graceful pace. They don't rush, they wait their turn. They accept what is beyond their control, and they show up every day, regardless of how the previous day has been. That's you. That's you. Because you carry their cosmic imprint of ease, of grace, of calm, and committed presence. Take that in, because that is you. Now slowly, very gently open your eyes. Softly rub your hands and gently take in your surroundings. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. From my heart to yours, with love and gratitude, namaste. Thank you. Now I request Prakash to please do the question answer session, moderate the question answer session.
Priya,
Priyaji?
that was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Priyaji, thank you so much for the wonderful workshop. It's been a real stress buster, something we so dearly need today in our lives to help cope with these critical conditions surrounding us. Hello, everybody. Trust you all are safe and healthy during these trying pandemic times. If anyone has any questions or queries, kindly post them in the chat box and we'll do our best to accommodate all of them. And of course, if you'd like to speak, kindly raise your hand by clicking the reactions button. Thank you. Let's go with the first question.
I'll try and address the questions to my best ability. Where I feel I need to, study a little more and get back, I would tell you that.
We don't seem to be having very many questions. I don't see anything so far. If anybody would like to just say something, kindly unmute yourself and please go ahead and start talking right away.
So Priya, it's been very informative, very calming, and is something that we need in today's time. So really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And Prakash, to you too.
Thanks a lot, Nino. Thanks a ton for that. And maybe if there are no questions, there are one or two things. Yes, please.
Okay, now supposing there is a, like you said, it forms a habit, repeated feelings, they form a habit. If a habit is formed, how do you break that habit?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. Now, what happens is that when we want to break a habit, and a habit is very ingrained in us, within ourselves, it's become a part of our sanskaras. First thing we want to do is we want to analyze that why do we want to break the habit, and do we really want to break it? Because the knowledge of how to break a habit is there. We have books and we have tons of books and tons of processes. The question we need to ask ourselves is that do we really want to break that habit? Is it a number one priority to break that habit? Because often what happens is I want to break a habit, but I am not committed to breaking it. And it is at that time that we fall between the stools, between two stools. And it leads to frustration and it leads to dejection and a sense of failure. So once we have decided that, yes, this is a habit that I do want to break, what I need to do is I need to replace that action with a favorable action, an action that will be in tandem with what I want to achieve. So for example, let us see a situation where somebody is a smoker and they want to give up smoking. Now, there are various techniques to doing that. You, number one, need to remain away from the stimulation of smoking for a particular period of time. Because once you're away from that environment, from that vibration, it will help you to replace that with the vibration that you actually want, which is of not smoking. So there are various techniques, and what we really need to do is, number one, to build our capacity to empower ourselves through meditation, through prayer. That is at one level, at a mental level, at a mind level, to make ourselves stronger. And that we can do by telling ourselves that I am a powerful being, I am a peaceful being, and empowering ourselves, imagining rays of peace and power falling on me and making myself mentally very strong. So that is on one end, the mental part. The other is the actual physical part. And that physical part means that I gravitate from a situation of doing a particular repeated action, a pattern of action by another repeated pattern of action. So it will, and that takes care of the lifestyle. Just the lifestyle by itself will not make a difference. Just the mental part will not make a difference. It is the combination of both aspects. There is also a third aspect, which is a very important aspect, which is that what is my self-identity? Like, for example, if we see there is a person who wants to lose weight, and whenever they are in a group or when they are alone with themselves, the language that they talk to themselves is, oh, I'm a fat person. Oh, I'm so fat. Their self-identity in their mind has got created that I am a fat person. I am an obese person. And all their actions will gravitate towards that self-identity. So if I want to lose weight today, irrespective whether it is factual or not factual, I need to tell myself, I am a slim, healthy person. That is my self-identity. And this is at a subconscious level, because it at a subconscious level, once my self-identity changes, and this we can do through visualization. Like, I visualize myself wearing that beautiful dress that I want to wear, and imagining a very slim and healthy me walking into a party or walking in a mall. And I repeatedly visualize myself as that slim, healthy person. The self-identity, once my internal self-identity changes to that of being a slim person, my actions will gravitate towards that. So therefore, to change any habit, it is a three-pronged effort. One is to tell myself to imagine rays of power, peace, showering on me and making myself mentally very strong and empowering myself that yes, I will lose the weight. And that is my top priority. And I have the power to do it. I have the capacity, I have the potential to do it. The second is the physically how to modify my lifestyle. And the third is to change my internal self-identity of being a slim and healthy person vis-a-vis being a plump person. I hope that answered your question, Usha.
Let me, yeah, I have to think about it.
Yes, and if
Thank
there is
you.
anything
Thank
else,
you.
because I'm sure that there is a particular habit that you have in mind that you are thinking about. So if
Yeah.
at any time you would like to discuss that, we can have a discussion on that particular habit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, on the same question and answer, can I just ask that isn't then, are you saying that we should
I
create
also
an
want to
illu-
say something.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so can I finish first?
Sorry, I
Swati
can't
ji,
hear.
Swati ji, please go
Yeah.
ahead. Could you speak a little louder if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, so I'm saying, the answer that Priya you gave to Usha's query, are you saying that we should create an illusion which is not factual?
Uh, yes, in a sense, yes. Initially, it may not be reality. It may not be reality, but it is something that I do want to achieve. And I visualize myself achieving that. Because the moment I do that, I radiate that aura to myself as well as around me. So it may not be a factual reality today, but it is something that will become, I foresee that as my reality in the very near future. Because the aura, the vibrations of the language that I speak to myself and the language in which I think impacts the actions that I will take. And also impact how much I empower myself, because I can be my best friend or I can be my harshest critic. I can be my worst enemy. I need to choose. Do I want to be my best friend, or do I want to be my harshest critic, a very unkind, very, very unkind towards myself? And answering your question, Swati, yes, initially it may not be the truth, because that's not what my weight may be today 70 kilos. I want to be 60. It is not 60. That is true, but it will be in the near future. If that is the confidence with which one can talk to oneself, you are well on your journey.
Is it like goal setting?
Yes, it is like goal setting. In terms of achievement, or I mean, if one wants to change a habit, goal setting is very, very important because goal setting is measurable, and anything that can be measured can be changed. And therefore, goal setting is an integral part. And what we need to do is that if we have a particular vision in mind that we want to achieve, a certain goal, we break it up into small modules, because then they don't tend to overwhelm us. Because suddenly, if I'm facing a situation where I need to lose 20 kilos, it's like, oh my God, I can't do it. It's too much. But if I say that, no, I'm going to lose 1 kilo every 15 days, it's doable. And therefore, yes, goal setting certainly plays a very critical role. Any other questions?
Kamini ji has sent a message in the booth. She's mentioned that apparently her reception wasn't too good and she wasn't able to be in touch with the entire workshop. So she's requested if you could share the recording later. I think Kamini ji, you could probably be on WhatsApp with Priya ji and she'll facilitate whatever links are required.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In case there are no questions, I'd like to mention just one or two things which are like triggers for thoughts. One question which I'd heard a participant ask a speaker when I was listening to the speaker was that, what is spirituality? And I remember this was Swami Sarvapriyananda, and he gave a beautiful answer. He said that when we close our eyes and we are at peace, and when we open our eyes and our attitude is, how can I help you? How can I serve you? That is spirituality. But for a lot of us, when we close our eyes, our mind is in conflict. And when we open our eyes, the attitude is, what is in it for me? Which is exactly the opposite of what it actually should be. So this journey of moving to this place where when we close our eyes, we are totally at peace. And when we open our eyes, the question is, how can I give to you? How can I help you? How can I serve you? That is spirituality. I just found this such a beautiful answer. And I thought I'd share this with you. And there was also something that Swami Vivekananda said, which is a question which, is a question in all of our minds. He said that to give up life and to go to the mountains and to meditate is not the way. To entangle ourselves in worldly pleasures is also not the way. Then what exactly is the way? The way is to spiritualize every single action of ours while we live this life. And then one of his disciples asked him, but how do we do that? And there was Swami Sarvapriyananda. He's the resident monk at the Harvard Divinity School. He gave a very beautiful answer out of his own life. He says that, he was at the Lucknow airport and he was a young monk at that time. He had just completed his monastic studies and he was traveling from Lucknow to Delhi, and it was winters and the flight had got delayed. And at that time, Lucknow was a very small airport and he was the only passenger in that entire airport. And the people, the security guards who check you, they told him, Mahatma ji kuch sunaiye. So he says that I was, and they collected everybody around, like there were 20 of them, and they put him onto that box where you have to stand when they check you. And they said, kuch bhi sunaiye. So he says, I started thinking that at 12 o'clock at night, what can I tell them that will, sit with them and that will remain with them? So he says, I asked them that when you go to your workplace in the morning, do you offer prayers and flowers? And they said, हाँ बिल्कुल हम तो जरूर फूल चढ़ाते हैं हनुमान जी को. उससे पहले कभी भी काम पे नहीं जाते. So he says, then I told them that whenever a customer comes, whenever a passenger comes and you check the passenger, before the passenger leaves, offer a flower to the passenger. And he said, "Waha, fir to hum Hanuman ki puja sara din karte rahenge." And he said, yes, this is what Swami Vivekanand ji meant when he said, spiritualize every action of your life. You don't have to go to the mountains. You can live this very life, and the intention and the aura with which you, the energy that you surround every action of yours is what will spiritualize it.
Yashpal ji would like to have a couple of words. I think he's got a question. Yashpal ji, could you kindly come forward? Unmute your mic.
Yeah, thanks, Prakash, and thank you very much, Priya. Remembers the old times that we used to have these sessions. All right, my question is, what is your view? Does food make the difference? Because we always hear of tamasic and sattvic and rajasic, all these foods that bring in take out the tamas, which is anger is part of tamas, and then you make it sattvic. Does food play a role?
Yes, I'd like to answer this question. I think it's a very relevant question in two ways. One is without really coming down to discussion on non-veg vis-a-vis vegetarian, not coming to that level. There are two aspects to this. One is the actual methodology with which we cook our food, not what we are cooking, but the methodology that we use to cook our food. If I am cooking or my cook in the kitchen is cooking the food, can I have some bhajans in the background? Can I imagine that while I'm cooking, there are rays of peace, of power, of love, of care, compassion, which are falling on me. And when they fall on me, they're also falling on the food that I am cooking. Because that is the vibration that will go in the food itself. And that is what I will be serving to my family. So the content is one aspect, and the methodology that we utilize while cooking the food makes a lot of difference. When we are angry, when we are upset, and we cook that food, those vibrations are absorbed by the water. They are absorbed by the content of what we are cooking. So that is one. The second aspect is in terms of sattvic, which to a lot of people is vegetarian food. And, and there is a philosophy, a school of thought that says that, look, proteins are very important and therefore non-veg is very essential. There are various discussions on that. The other school of thought is that, when you want something which is high vibration, you want to consume something that is high vibration. And for that, having food that is sattvic with a very good, pure, clean vibration, that is very important. They say, jaisa pani, vaisi vani. Jaisa an, vaisa man. So these are old, phrases which were used by our grandparents. As I said, I don't want to get into a vegetarian vis-a-vis non-veg, but that is for each one of us to assess that how pure, what are the vibrations with which I'm cooking the food, or the vibrations that my cook in the kitchen is cooking the food with. And also when I serve the food, I can say, oh, I'm cooking the food, but my son or daughter will never eat it. They just don't like it. I can have these thoughts. Instead of that, I can just, say a word and of prayer and say that today, God, whatever I'm cooking, I'm doing it with the best intention. I hope that for my family, they enjoy it and it provides well-balanced nutrition to them. So the methodology and how you serve that food is as important as the content of what you are consuming.
Priya, I missed a lot of your session.
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to say that the couplet which you said summarized the entire lecture you gave.
Thank you, Satish. It's my personal favorite. I just love that couplet.
But this is the whole summary of the lecture what you have given us, that we try to improve the others rather than ourselves, and we find faults in others rather than looking into ourselves. And if we look into ourselves, the improvement is a must.
Absolutely, Satish, you said it very well. That, you know, responsibility basically is the ability to respond.
Correct.
And we
You
have to
explained it very well, how important our vibrations are. That is why sometimes when you meet somebody, you feel very happy. And when you meet some other person, you don't feel happy. This is only the vibrations which you get from the other person. And you give your vibration to the other people. And spirituality and meditation help to give positive vibrations to everybody.
Very true, very true. You know, people, we often think that thoughts are something that others cannot see. And, you know, it's only something that we are aware. But our thoughts, words, and actions, they need to be in tandem with each other. There needs to be integrity in all the three, because all the three are karma. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions. So for example, if I meet somebody who's wearing a very bright red dress, for example, and I say, oh, you're wearing such a lovely dress. And in my mind, I'm thinking, kitna jatka hai, koi zarurat thi itna bright pehnne ki. So what exactly have I done? I've sent a mixed signal to that person, because the thoughts travel much faster than our words.
That's true.
And then also, like, for example, if a daughter-in-law gets married in a house and she comes and the in-laws do not want her to work and she gives up her work and she's on a behavioral level done everything that the family wanted. But if her thoughts while she did that was that, you know, I am a victim and I was made to do something that I didn't want to do, and she doesn't take responsibility by saying that, look, this marriage is important to me, my husband is important to me, and because of that, I am choosing to give up my career, and becomes and feels that she is a victim, behaviorally, she has done everything correct. But in terms of her thoughts, and sometimes even in terms of her words, they may not be integrity.
They may not synchronize.
Yes, absolutely. They may not synchronize. And later on, the others will get that fragrance from her. And this will lead them also not to be happy. And then we often hear these phrases. We say, ki sari zindagi maine ye kiya, aur abhi tak ye log khush nahi hai. It is only and only because there is lack of integrity in all the three. And that's what leads to conflict, mental conflict in our mind.
That is true. Very true. Thank you.
Thank you. And also another very commonplace, everyday example that happens in our lives is that somebody calls us for a function. And I've come back from work and I'm extremely tired, or, you know, I have gone out shopping or whatever the reasons. And I'm very tired and I don't want to go to that function. But I know that, you know, my presence may not get noticed, but my absence will get noticed. And it's a family function. Now, either what I can do is I can go to the function and keep cribbing internally. Oh, I never wanted to do this. I never wanted to do this. Or I can change my thoughts, or I can change my action and ensure that all three are on the same page. So either I decide and I tell my husband that, look, or my partner that, look, I'm very, very tired and I just don't have the wherewithal to go to that function. Mentally, I will send them a lot of love and care, and please, you go and tell them that. Or I tell myself that, look, this family is very important. Over the years, I have nurtured this relationship. This is very important for my husband, for myself, for my children. So I am going to go, and when I go there, I'm going to happily interact with everybody. So either I change my thought or I change my action to ensure that all my thoughts, my words and actions all work in tandem with each other.
That is
And
true.
this is a checking that we can do at all points of time.
Very true. Thoughts give us words and words gives us vibrations. Very true.
Okay.
Very well said. Very well explained.
We have 8 minutes more before it gets timed out again. We have one question from Wasima Halim Ji. And she's asked, is it necessary to create an emotion buffer zone to buy yourself time before you react to negative stimulus?
Emotional buffer zone. That's a very interesting terminology. I've never heard that before, but I know, I think I know what you mean by that. Yes, absolutely. You know, they say that between the stimulus and the response, there is a pause. And in that pause, we make a choice. And therein lies our destiny. So I think that what you mean by an emotional buffer response is that pause between the stimulus and our response. And we give ourselves that pause. We bring self-awareness into it as to what choice am I going to make. And then we respond rather than reacting. So very important, very sensible, the right way to go. The emotional buffer time or zone that we give ourselves.
Awesome. I think that wraps up all the questions. If anybody else has any other questions, kindly unmute yourself and come forward.
Yes, the last one is from me. Let me put on my video. Okay, it's not coming on. So I still have a problem with my video. I'm Kamini Basin. Priya, I got to know you through the TTM, where I'm part, which I'm part of. So I teach a child in the 10th standard. Now, what I missed out is a lot because I think my internet has been troubling me. But I caught a little tail of when you were trying to probably link spirituality to the habits. Is that correct?
Yes, that was a part of a part of an answer to a question that had been asked.
Okay. So, this is the reason why I wanted to hear the entire session if it's recorded, because I found it very interesting. So is there any way in your session where you have connected with the habits that we form, thoughts, action, and feeling, thoughts, action, and then habits? Did you connect it anywhere with the self, with spirituality?
When you say self, yes, it is connected because one, it shows the flow, the sequence of how our thoughts create our destiny. And then subsequently, it tells us techniques of how we can start our day with pure divine thoughts. And that's where the element of spirituality, prayer, meditation comes into the forefront. So yes, it does connect.
It does.
But Kamini, once you have seen the recorded version, which Prakash will be editing the recorded version and sending it to us. Once you've heard it, if you have any question, I'm always there. I can answer to the best ability that I can. And, I would like to mention something to everybody that, each of us is on our own journey. We all have our own Kurukshetras to deal with. And the reference point for improvement is always where I started from. So if I started from say 10 and now I'm coming to 9 and now I'm coming to 8, I may be at a 7 in a particular area, somebody else may be at a 5. Whereas in some other area, I may be at a 5 and that person may be at a 7. But we are all on that journey, each one of us. And that's really what life is about. It's about that, you know, somebody once asked this question to, I think it was Sister Shivani, that what is the purpose of life? Why am I born? And she said something beautifully. She said, you're born to feel joy and to radiate joy. That is the purpose of your life.
Right.
The purpose of your life is to use every opportunity to give, not to receive. Like we
Right.
say, mere liye isme kya hai? What is there in it for me? No, we need to turn the barrel upside down and say, what is it that I can give? And it also has a subsequent great benefit to us. Because when our approach is that how can I benefit, our expectations become minimal. And when our expectations become minimal, there is very little disappointment. Because disappointment comes with expectations. And when we approach life with a approach of giving, of serving, of helping, it helps to minimize expectations and subsequently disappointments.
Right.
You know, there is this, in most Indian families, we have this superstition, whatever one may call it, ki in a puja, diya bujhna nahi chahiye. You know, you light a flame and that flame should not subside. That is the physical ritual. But the actual meaning behind that is, what does that diya symbolize? That diya symbolizes the value of dena, of giving, of serving, of helping. So when we say ki wo diya bujhna nahi chahiye, it basically means that let that value of serving, of helping, may that never, never, ever get eliminated from my life.
That's very beautiful. Thank you.
That is very,
Very beautiful. Very well said.
I know it's amazing. Sister Shivani is just amazing.
Okay,
Yes.
Priyaji, we have just about 1.5 minutes more to go before time's out. So if there are some more questions, we can log back on, or should we call this a wrap?
Surita, I think we can.
Yeah, thank you, Priya, for a very, very thought-provoking session. And I think we all enjoyed and have a lot to take back and think about. And thank you, Prakash, for moderating the session. But there is a general kind of consensus that you have to sing a few lines before we wrap up. So how about that?
So
We can't let you go so easy.
We'll have to log back on because there's hardly about 30 seconds left. So I'll
Okay,
cut
so
the
let's
meeting.
log back
Okay.
on.
We'll have to log back on, yeah?
He sings
So yeah, whoever is
beautifully.
interested in listening, yeah, to his song, we are just log back on. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Otherwise, bye.
Sure.
I just want to tell you, he sings amazingly well.
Yeah, we are logging.
Yes, we don't want to miss that.
Thank you.
He's too good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No. Okay.